Right, we're here in Melkweg in Amsterdam with the Kills, VV and Hotel. How are you doing today?
Okay,
Good. Good. Enjoying the coffee?
Yeah.
It's too hot, actually.
Yeah, where have you come from?
We played in Brussels last night, and then we stopped off at a racetrack. And we went go-kart racing.
Oh, cool. So no injuries in?
No, but my shoulder's
actually.
there's a really serious chicane that just kept destroying my shoulder, and I feel like I don't know if I'm going to be able to play guitar tonight.
I had a pretty big head-on collision with Charlie, our sound man. My knee's not quite the same as it used to be.
That's not from your crash.
No, that's from different ones.
Okay. I believe you made Keep on the Mean Side in a circle of isolation and desperation. A lot of things must have changed from making that album to the new album. How did that affect the process for you?
Well, I don't know. The first album was written over a really long period of time. I think that was the difference. But it was written in isolation in a way. It was before we had that much going on. We kind of wrote at our leisure. We were just writing songs all the time with no distractions, really. And then I think after touring for a year and a half after that, it kind of felt like it was going to be really big job to try and, hide away again, especially in London or something, and work. So we went away and we did it. But not only that, we tried to experiment and see if we could write an entire record in less than a month.
Yeah, I mean, that was the biggest. The Keep on Your Mean Side was we just kind of gradually let all these things out. We would sort of discovering what was inside us musically, and letting those things out over a period of time. Whereas No Wow was much more, we put ourselves in a situation and said go and forced it all out. Sure. We go. I mean, I felt like one of the things we were fascinated. We'd been on tour for a year and we'd never written a song. We'd just take, it kind of freaked us out in a way, and then we were thinking, well, we've done a ton of things while we were on the road. We'd take thousands of photographs, and we had books and books full of stuff we'd written and loads of artwork that we'd done and things we'd collected from all these places. And there's a huge collection of things that we'd made in the last year of being on the road. So we took all those things to the studio and we said, let's use those as our kind of inspiration for starting the record. We might not have any songs yet, but we've got all this stuff, and this is kind of just as inspiring to write a record as a few little riffs that you come up with. And I guess we were just used to playing live, and we were used to that feeling of feeling nervous when you walk on stage, and then that being turned into adrenaline, and then the adrenaline being the performance. So we wanted to we decided we'd use that as the backbone of recording and try and have some sort of fear factor in recording. Because when people go and record, they want the opposite of that. They want security and comfort and good food and widescreen TV and PlayStation and all those things that just kind of make you just go out to lunch,
Yeah, sure.
So we wanted everything to be a little bit off balance, kind of claustrophobic place. Only gave ourselves a month to write the whole record. And
so that's from scratch, from writing to actually finish article.
No, that was just the writing. We went.
Oh yeah.
We went to Benton Harbor, Michigan, and wrote it in 3 weeks, and then demoed it for a week, and then took a few days off and went to New York to record it.
Okay. So, do you ever worry about becoming too popular now, and the happiness sort of side of life taking away the creative feelings of
Well, the more people that ask us that, the more I realise that we're sort of blissfully unaware of it.
Yeah.
And I think that's kind of, I'm not really sure what other bands' attitudes are, but we're just so kind of in our own bubble. We're so sort of focused on what we're doing that.
But no, I mean, to answer I don't feel any different at all. I do. We are in a bubble. We just do what we do all the time.
Yeah.
We don't have the opportunity to get the chance or want to go outside and see what's happening. People are responding. I mean,
I wouldn't say we're worried about it, but it's something you're conscious of. I think that's that's the life of a band. It's kind of you struggle to get recognised to start with. You know, you struggle to get out of your basement and just people to hear you, and then you struggle for more people to hear you and more people to hear you,
Yeah.
and then you start noticing a bit of sort of self-disgust.
Have
The more
you-
popular you get, and you just got to kind of be aware of it. But
Yeah.
I think the whole thing about being in a band is a bit kind of nihilist anyway. It's kind of the more you grow, the more something's dying in it.
Sure.
You know.
But
It's just
yeah, so have you actually felt that yourself in your writing as of yet? I suppose coming to a second album, then you've probably not noticed that yet in the way you're thinking.
I mean, we definitely we went out of our way not to make a record for anybody else, you know, and you can hear that in the record. You know, it's not like there was never any thought put into it to make it get in the charts or get on the radio. We didn't make that kind of a record, and you know, at that point when we made that record, it was important that we did that without anybody else involved and without taking on anybody's expectation or anything like that.
Sure.
So, yeah.
How do you feel that you live your lives? Is it from the inside looking out upon the world, or from the outside looking in onto yourselves?
From the inside out. The outside in. Inside out. Just have to work that one out.
Yeah, I think
Yeah,
so.
I feel like I feel like personally, I feel like I'm observing stuff, you know. I don't feel like it's kind of, I'm trying to find, I mean, in a way, I'm trying to find my sort of context, you know, what I'm doing, what my part in this whole thing is. In a way, I feel like I'm, you know, trying to find out what kind of, what my context is in the world.
Sure.
Most of it is just, I just feel like I'm just observing and trying to turn that into
It'd be a
art.
lot easier if it was from the outside in, you know. But I think, yeah, it's like if you're going from the inside out, it's like any kind of like torture you've got with yourself, it's just going to kind of like come out and be that everywhere.
Sure.
And from the outside, you could just like run around taking really lovely things all the time and just definitely not outside
I mean, in a
in.
way, it's probably a bit of both, you know, like I feel like we're sort of observing stuff and trying to turn that into art, and we've always had this idea that we wanted to make the Kills into our lives and our lives into the Kills, and in that sense make our lives some kind of work of art, I suppose, you know, everything that we do to be some kind of, to be judged in a way, you know, it's like we're trying to leave our mark in some way, so I guess that's the outside looking in a way.
Okay. If you were going to work with anyone else in a different genre of music, have you thought about that? Who would you like to work with if so be the case, and is it a different genre?
I'd really like to work with LCD Sound System, but I wouldn't say, I don't know how strict you've been about genre.
Yeah, well, I would say they're in a different sort of genre.
I don't know really. It's not something I've really thought about too much.
No, it's just an idea. But if you could have your own Kills day, like a little festival,
Yeah.
and you could have 3 groups, artists or whatever, and 2 films to be shown, and where would this take place? What would they be, and where would this take place?
And they have to be, it
Living
has
or
to be
dead?
like, yeah, I mean, it can't be like bands from the past.
It can be whatever you want, just a thought bubble, just you'd be an ideal day for you to put on.
Mine
whoever
would be,
you could get together.
it would be in Death Valley, and it would start off with
I want the Velvet Underground to play because I just want to see
the Velvet Underground with John Cale, first lineup, not with Doug fucking Newell, and then it would be.
Oh, Patti Smith, but like when she's like so young. And how about
And then Gigi Allen.
what? You
No,
just to make it all go bad.
no, I don't know. Movies.
Oh, okay. Well, you could play.
The Tin Drum. I'd have that.
Yeah. Mm.
When you're in a band, you think of a movie, I think of another band.
You did. You picked G.G. Allen.
No, all right, Gigi Allen, forget him. Okay, it would be Velvets, Patti Smith, and
Anyway, I won't leave you to dwell on that too much. We know we're all going to be at Death Valley anyway.
Yeah.
A couple of last little questions. Just what do you feel about the comparisons to Polly Harvey and stuff like that?
I don't know. I mean, I think she's incredible. I don't know that much about her, you know. I listened to her first couple of records because Jamie was really into her.
Sure.
And that's really the only way that I know her. I don't think it's the worst comparison to have at all. I think it's great. But, you know, always being compared to someone else is always just a little bit like, it's never quite right, you know.
Sure.
But, yeah, I don't know.
I mean, I think like the comparison thing is like something that's it's kind of important in a way, because it makes me feel like there's a lot of people kind of on the same wavelength, that they're searching for something that was they're searching for some sort of legend and some mystery. There's all those scenes from the past that are now so legendary and so they have so much mystery around them, and they're such a kind of legend. And people are searching for that again. They want something superhuman. They want something beyond just a dude playing a guitar. You know, they want it to be a whole sort of life story and something kind of incredible. And so that's where those comparisons come from. I think when people compare you to kind of icons from the past or modern day icons. So I think there's something really amazing about it. And yeah, Polly Harvey's, I think she's probably one of the few living legends. Yeah, so I think that's a good thing.
And what did you think about someone like Moby, possibly naming his album after you?
I mean, this is completely prejudice. I don't know the guy. I've never met him, but I just can't stand him. Can't stand his music. Can't stand his style. Yeah, he did. It's called Hotel.
I know it is, but it's just
because he's.
Because you're vegan too, and he really loves you.
I mean, it's not like there's nothing personal. I hate his music, and I hate his style, and I hate the things he says, and I hate his spirituality.
You're not really friends.
But it's not personal because I don't know him.
Fair enough. Well, thank you very much for your time, and I hope your coffee didn't get too cold.
Oh, that's really good now.
Thank you.
Thank you very, very much.